Bonjour, good morning, welcome all of you. The topic we are going to discuss right now on a religious ceremony. This is a so-called, opt and quit topic. Most of the time, most people keep asking the questions when we'll, whether we'll go for this religious ceremony, we'll worship the God, we'll have some religious celebrations. Sometimes we'll go to the temple, sometimes we'll worship the God. To whom really we will worship, how and when we will have the right, what will be our right attitude when we will surrender, if in the religious ceremonies that surrender is at all necessary or not. So many questions from many corners of our life. We keep asking the questions on the religious ceremony. Here we are having a few lines from Mother and Sri Aurobindo to discuss, to have a brief look on this topic. So topic is religious ceremony, Mother course. Ceremony, that is relating to your religion, that is spiritual, that is religious ceremony. In we have got so many religions, one after another. We see that dharma. So Sri Krishna told san dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavam yuge yuge. So religion has done. It is there now in Buddha dharma, Hindu dharma, Sanatan religion, Sanatan dharma, Christism, your Mohammedans, Muslims. So many ways we can find different religions. Still in the course here beautifully. Religion sat on a blood-stained throne. Religion sat on a blood-stained throne. So, and again, still in the course, creeds, they organize the living death. So, customs, creeds, they organize the living death. You have to do this much, you have to go this way, you have to worship this way. This is the tradition, this is the way, this is the track. So many ways our freedom is actually hunted down. We are on the same track as the old illiterate people without intelligence they were doing. Simply we are we are tracking the path, we are treading the path which is really uncertain. We don't know where we are. Consciousness has gone, time has passed, but consciousness is actually, it is in a going backward. It is not progressing, rather it is regressing. So we'll have a brief discussion here, Mother course. In the invisible world, some worlds are visible, many of the worlds are there, they are not at all invisible. So in the invisible world, hardly any beings love to be worshipped. Hardly any being means not at all. They don't want to be worshipped except those of the vital. So the gods, beings of the vital world, they want to be worshipped. The invisible worlds, higher worlds, they don't want to be worshipped. These, as I said, are quite pleased by it. They know how it is going on, how people are offering, how they perform the puja and worship. That's what. And then it gives them an importance. How the people are worshipping, they are pleased. They feel how it gives them an importance. These are the popped up with pride and feel very happy. So their pride is actually established. We are actually recognizing their pride and feel very happy. And when they can get a herd of people to worship them, they are quite satisfied. So many people are there, they are coming, they are offering, they are worshipping. So when they feel that the group is actually anxiously they are worshipping, so these vital gods, they get happy, they get pleasure, and of course they feel satisfied, quite satisfied. Again, Mother moves forward. But if you take real divine beings, if you take real divine beings, they are not at all same thing, at all same something they value. They don't like to be worshipped. Very interesting. They don't like to be worshipped except the vital gods. They are satisfied. They feel people are coming, worshipping, offering, they are surrendering that consecration. With this consecration, these vital gods are satisfied. But people, the gods, beings of the higher nature, they are they don't like to be worshipped. No, mother course. It does not give them any special pleasure at all. No special pleasure at all. They simply observe, but they are not satisfied, neither nor pleased. Don't think they are happy, for they have no pride. Only to satisfy their pride, we are worshipping, and vital gods are getting satisfied. But higher gods, higher beings, they are not at all happy because they don't have pride. It is because the pride of a man, pride that a man likes to be worshipped. It is the interesting thing. Very important lines your mother has quoted. It is because of the pride that a man likes to be worshipped, to fulfill his pride. For his pride, for this fulfillment of his pride, man likes to be worshipped. If a man has no pride, he does not like to be worshipped. So, under the background of worship, man's pride is hidden. If it is they were some people who are having the pride, they want to be worshipped. If they don't have the pride, so they don't want to be worshipped. And if, for instance, they see a good intention or a fine feeling or a movement of unselfishness or enthusiasm, a joy, a spiritual joy, these things have for them infinitely greater value than prayers and act of worship and pujas. Normally, what we do worship, we do prayers, we do pujas. That's what we do. But they are not satisfied with what? What then they are satisfied? Mother has quoted. They are. If they find behind your devotion, your surrender, your consecration, your puja, your tapa, your japa, your self-giving, if there is at all a good intention, number one, number two, fine feeling, number three, movement of unselfishness, there is no selfishness at all, unselfishness and enthusiasm, and again a joy of worship and a spiritual joy of worship and a spiritual joy, nothing religious here. These things give them a tremendous pleasure. They get satisfied and they expect it, they enjoy it. So, Mother Course, I assure you that I am telling you the very serious, Mother Course. I am telling you what I am telling you is very serious. If you sit a real God in the chair and oblige them with to remain there all the while you are doing puja, real God you are bringing, you are making himself seated on a chair, and the entire time you keep worshipping them and offering to your puja for a long time, he may perhaps have a little fun watching what would you do. He will find a pleasure, he will have a fun, because the way you are offering, the way you are worshipping and offering puja, he will find a fun, but certainly gives him no satisfaction. Not at all, Mother Course. He does not feel either flattered or happy or glorified by your puja. Never, never. He feels no. He does not feel any either flattered or happy or glorified by your puja. You must get rid of the idea. Means straightforward, Mother Course. You get rid of this puja and this puja that process under these methods. Mother quotes, religious ceremony. Mother gives the example of Lord Kali, Mother Kali. Religious ceremony, for example, there is so many of these entities called Kalis. Kali, we are worshipping. In Sri Aurobindo has quoted, I am Kali, the black and naked in the world. So many of these deities called Kali, who are given besides quite terrible appearances. So many are even placed in houses as the family gods. They are having terrible appearances. You are worshipping, some people are worshipping like their family goddess. They are full of a terrible vital force, terrible vital force. I know Mother Courts beautifully. Mother Courts tries to explain. Mother Courts here I knew people who were so frightened of the Kali that they had at home that they indeed they are trembled to make the least mistake. They trembled before Kali, and for when catastrophes come, they thought it was Kali who sent them. You know, Kali, her own angels or Duta, and their own people, they are coming. So, people who are keeping them in the whole home, they are worshipping. When the catastrophes come, they thought it was Kali who sent them. So, it is a frightful thing, thought. So frightful thing, thought, I know them. These entities I know very well, and they are vital beings, vital forms, which, so to say, are given form by human thoughts. Vital, mother gods, do vital beings, and of course, vital forms, whom men have given a form, whom are given a form by this human. They have given a form by this human thought. And what forms? And to think that men worship such terrible and monstrous things, whom really in the name of Kali you are worshipping the terrible and monstrous beings, and what more that the poor gods are given, are paid the compliment of believing that it is. Compliment of believing that it is. Really, does not exist. You are taking a false appearance, false form. This human thought has given a terrible and monstrous form. Again, mother quotes, from this point of view, it is good for some time for men to get out of this religious atmosphere instead of being involved. You should. It is better for you to get out of the religious atmosphere, so full of fear and so this sort of blind, superstitious submission of which the hostile forces have taken a dreadful advantage. This situation, this terrible atmosphere, trembling, thrilling atmosphere, it creates great advantage for these hostile forces. They take great dreadful advantage of this atmosphere. The period of denial, positivism, if is it from this point of view quite indispensable in order to free men from the superstition. That's what mother quotes. Everything, whatever you perform, it is only to please the hostile forces around you. So you do one thing. You must be free from this superstition. It is only when one comes out of that. It is only when one comes out of that entire process of superstition and the process of appeasing and pleasing the hostile forces from taking the advantage. So what you have to do out of that and abject submission to monstrous vital forces, that one can rise truly on the spiritual heights. You get rid of these forces, this puja, this atmosphere, and get into the spiritual heights, and there become the collaborator and the instrument of the forces of the truths. From that vital atmosphere, you try to come out of that atmosphere. You get rid of these vital gods, and you try to move towards your spiritual height and be a collaborator and a true instrument of the force of the truth, the real consciousness, the true power. You become a force of that. Again, mother quotes, one must leave all this far behind before one can climb to the higher. So, that is the only way, that is the only way you have to do, you have to perform. You must come out of these superstitious ideas, ceremonies, so collaborate and become a collaborator of the descent of the truth that is descending, and that is of course reigning the world. And not only like this, you must be the instrument of the force of the truth, the real consciousness, the true power. And you must leave the far behind before you climb the higher. If one side you are on the spiritual track, and on another side you are pushing yourself into the folds of this ignorant of the obscure undivine forces, hostile forces, then the process is seized. It is actually getting slower. So you leave everything all behind. You come out of your that atmosphere. You get rid of that superstition. Then you move. That will be better for you. On worship. Sri Aurobindo is having a couple of explanation and observation you can see. Without a spiritual aspiration, worship is meaningless and vain. Without a spiritual aspiration, worship is meaningless and vain. Yet the aspiration go without the act, and the form is a disembodied, and for life is incompletely effective power. So and again, all love indeed is the adoration. That is, adoration has a spiritual force beyond behind it. All love indeed. That is adoration. All love, that is adoration, has a spiritual force behind it. Love, that is worship, is at once aspiration and preparation. So this worship must be accompanied with your aspiration and aspiration for the divine love. All love indeed as an adoration, that is adoration, has a spiritual force behind it. Love, that is worship. Love, that is worship, not the material worship or external worship. What we are doing, calling the hostile forces and worshipping the vital gods. Love, that is worship, is at once an aspiration and a preparation for for the emotional being. So they are one means of approaching the divine. These worship one way of approaching the divine and receiving the light and materializing the psychic contact. So this must be done, but with a spiritual aspiration, spiritual sense, and there must be the divine love must be there. So it is not sufficient to worship Krishna, Christ, or Buddha without, if there is not a revealing and the formation of the Buddha, Christ, and Krishna in ourselves. Everything is there, it is concealed. We have to reveal them. If that revelation is not there, then worship is meaningless, not sufficient. So, mother quotes very beautiful things. Man worships the ungrasped. Man worships the ungrasped, that is the attitude of this being. So finally we are going to the religious on religion. Mother Sri Aurobindo has quoted few lines. We will try to quote couple of definitions. Religion can best modify only the outer surface. It can never change and modify your inner entity, your inmost self. Then Mother quotes, all religion have saved a number of souls, but none has been able to spiritualize the mankind. The purpose is spiritualization and supramentalization, nothing with moralizing and religion. Each religion has served mankind, but it can't be eternal unless otherwise it is eternal. It is universal. So, Sri Aurobindo quotes, if a religion is not universal, it can't be eternal. Popular religion is a sort of ignorant yoga of devotion. Popular religion is a sort of ignorant way of devotion. So, we must know who the gradation of gods, to whom really we will feel. Our psychic must come forward. We must be in contact with the divine love. We must worship the divine. We must we must tread the divine path. That is what the most initial requirements for all. But thing is that where really we are leading to, we don't know. Normally already mother has categorically identified, categorically explained vital gods. They are interested in getting worshipped, they feel pleasure, and because of the fulfillment of his of the pride. Mother quotes, the man who is having a who pride, it must be fulfilled to the through the puja, and they feel to be worshipped. But the man, the being who is not, on the contrary, who is not having any pride, they need not want any puja, they don't want to be worshipped. So what we have to do here, the spiritualism is the ultimately the end, we must know. So to stick the spiritualism, we must know, we must tread in the path of the divine. That is what, when the divine is there, so what is the unnecessarily wasting, what is the point of unnecessarily wasting the time in worshipping the vital gods, for which with this worship of these vital gods, these hostile forces get accelerated in enthusiasm. So we must know these real gods, real beings, true beings, they don't get satisfied with this worship and all. For that, actually, we must come out of the idea of worshipping them. Mother also explains, already we have quoted, suppose you are putting some higher god on a chair and worshipping of your own, in your own style, with one consecration, one prayer and one puja, they will simply feel what they are indifferent. They will feel how you are worshipping, but no gain, because they are not at all satisfied. Anyway, ceremonial worship you must know, you must understand, but thing is that true goal, true path is spiritual, divine is the goal. We must try to worship in the, from the deepest and corner innermost self of the heart. Thank you for today. Vande Mataram.